So Microsoft has let everybody down once again with their diabolical handling of how they're going to run Xbox as a company, as a hardware product, as everything in between. And now I think it is time for you to finally make that switch to PC if you haven't done so already. But yeah, before then, how about you do me a favor though, hit subscribe. I want to make more gaming content like this here on the channel, be that Linux, be that Xbox, be that everything in between, platform gaming, you name it, I'll try my best to cover it. But yeah, cheers, let's get back into this. So there's a bit of a bombshell over the last couple of months. I think Xbox and Microsoft bumping up prices of their Game Pass service. They've fumbled the bag on their hardware. They've really not tried very hard this generation. I have to say, we go back all the way back to the Xbox 360. They had the industry in the palm of their hand. They had a bit of a resurgence with the 360 era. They went toe-to-toe with the PS3. But since then, hey, what have Microsoft done for gaming? Yeah, they've had some good titles. But the fact of the matter is, I genuinely think Microsoft continues to fumble the bag in every single area, be that PCs, be that gaming now, be that services, live service games. It's a bit of a disappointment. And so if you are someone out there who is an ardent Xbox gamer, I think now is the time to make that switch to PC. And the reason being is that you have the ability now to go and choose what you want for your gaming future. Think about it for a moment. You've probably got games that you've played on 360, on Xbox One, which was a massive flop, and all of those other platforms. Save Nintendo Switch, I think realistically, most PC gamers will agree that this is the best place to be for every single title that you could potentially want to play. And what makes things worse is that Microsoft and Xbox game studios are slowly starting to put their exclusives onto other platforms. They're putting them on PlayStation. They're already available on Steam. We have titles like the new Gears Remastered, which is already on my wish list, by the way. This is available on PC, or is available to purchase on PC. I wouldn't pay £40. That's another discussion for another day. We'll get into that in a moment as well. The fact of the matter is, if you are someone who is a patient gamer, and I think a lot of you probably should be, and this is the problem with console gaming as it is right now. With regards to console gaming, you kind of have to either wait a long time for prices to come down on the titles that you want to play, or use a service like Game Pass. My critique of Game Pass is this. For £30 a month or $30 that it's going to go up to for the ultimate tier, I don't genuinely think it's worth it. For the sake of £360 a year or whatever it is, I think it's £360 a year here in the UK, maybe a little bit more with VAT on top, you are going to have to play multiple games per month. Now ask yourself the question, do you genuinely go out and play multiple games per month? Or do you tend to play one core title, say for instance Call of Duty, or Fortnite, or Apex Legends in my case, or the finals, now I play Linux. What I tend to do is I'll play the one game, which is free to play by the way, and then I will play some little side games here and there. If that is how you play games and consume gaming content, I genuinely do not think that Xbox Game Pass is in any way, shape or form value for money at £30 a month. However, if you're someone who has to play the latest game when it's available, which again is another thing that I don't think you should be doing anyway, because it's just not great for you as a person trying to chase trends, you are going to get some value for money out of this. You're going to get really good value for money. For everybody else, I genuinely think that now is the time to seriously consider ditching Microsoft, ditching their platforms, and going to something where you have full control. Take, for instance, Valve and Steam. Steam offers lots of sales on their products, maybe not as good as they used to be, but what tends to happen is we see a game come out, it may get a huge player base, but then you get DLC later down the line. Ordinarily, the prices are a lot cheaper than console, because obviously you have a higher entry cost for PC gaming with your components. But the fact of the matter is that there are potentially millions of games that you can go out and play. Maybe millions is a bit of an over-exaggeration, but there are titles that you can play from 5, 6, 7 years ago, which will cost you pennies, and I genuinely mean pennies. You may be able to pick up games like the Arkham series of games, the Batman games, fantastic. You may be able to pick them up for about £5 for the trio. That's insane value for money. In terms of hours per game, you could be talking 40 plus hours per game if you go and try and 100% it. You will not get that value on console unless they offer certain sales and they are a little bit more sporadic. They don't tend to have, if you want to get disc copies as well, you're kind of fighting the losing battle, as it were, with actual shops that sell real hardware now. Everything tends to be digital. Here on PC, be that Linux, be that Windows, I don't think you should use Windows, but you have the opportunity to pick and choose the games that you may have missed out on, or the games that you already own will be cheaper as a result. If you are going to build a library, you don't have to spend a fortune. Yes, This is where the problem of spending a fortune on a rig may be something that causes a lot of console gamers, I think, to balk at the idea of making the switch to a PC setup. For the most part, you don't need to go out and spend $1,000 on a GPU to get a good experience. I have a fairly modest PC. It was expensive at the time, but I have a 3900X CPU, which is a 12-core CPU, 24 threads, fantastic CPU for actual workloads, maybe not necessarily for gaming, so I don't tend to choose to change that for a while. I have an AMD 7800 XT, I was about to get the wrong name there, but that is a fairly modest CPU by modern standards. It cost me about £500 last December. For me, that's going to do fine. I'm going to play games on medium settings, which are going to look a lot better than, say, most of these modern games that are not optimized very well. And this is the key thing, I think, with PC gaming, the way you are going to benefit the most. If you're patient, as I say, you don't want to play games on day one, wait a little while, let the games be optimized, because what tends to happen with these AAA gaming studios nowadays, and you'll see complaints about this everywhere on the internet, these AAA gaming studios are not optimizing for the common hardware setups that people tend to have. They are optimizing for the highest pieces of hardware, which cost thousands and thousands of dollars. And that also does mean that consoles, by extension, may lose out on certain features, functionalities, and the quality that you kind of expect from a AAA title of yesteryear. For PC gaming, be patient, wait for those sales, pick up indie titles. There's so many fantastic games out there. Pick up all AAA titles for pennies and have a great experience. Now, I know a lot of you will be looking and thinking, but I like to sit and game on the couch or whatever it is. I don't want to be sat at a desk. And I agree with you to a great extent. And this is where options like Steam Big Picture and other alternatives to this make gaming at your couch, whatever it happens to be, so much easier than it ever was before. You have options on Linux as well with Bazite that I'm running on my PC behind me, which makes things just getting into a gaming system super simple, super clean, super lightweight, and the performance is fantastic. With options like Steam Big Picture, you can use any controller that you potentially own. That could be something from the 1970s, for instance. As long as you can connect it to your PC, it will work. So if you have a favorite controller from the PS2 era, yeah, get yourself a connector, plug it into your PC, you're going to have a great time. You just don't get that with any console. I know I've been critical of Microsoft and Xbox, but they are the big company that seems to be pulling out of this space. If they are going to make a new piece of hardware, I believe early rumors suggest it's going to be PC-like anyway. So if you're going to make that switch, now might be the time to do it. Get ahead of the curve. Get these games, build a library, go ahead, middle of this video, just stop the video, go to Steam. If you don't already have a profile, go create it. Go create an Epic Games library account. You get free games every week. Start building a library. You won't lose these by switching or changing components or getting a new PC. Microsoft makes it harder, or has made it harder, for people to have, say, Xbox Live Arcade games from 360 all the way to this era. You may not be able to access those now. Backwards compatibility is bad on console. You don't have that issue on PC. So yes, I'm here to tell you that now is the time to fully ditch Microsoft. Just do yourself a favor, get rid of them. And I completely understand that moving from one big company to another big company for all of your entertainment purposes is a bad choice. But there are options there for DRM-free games from Good Old Games or whatever it happens to be. You have those options now. Take control of your gaming experience. Get a gaming PC. Don't look back. I think you will have a great time. And the option there is for you to have multiple form factors. You can have something that plugs into your TV. You can have something like behind me, which is a desk setup. You can have multiple screens. Don't shoehorn yourself into console gaming like maybe you would have done 5 or 6 years ago. Get out your comfort zone. Get into something that is going to benefit you for decades to come. Yeah, PC gaming is where it's at. Xbox, get out of my face. Microsoft, we're saying bye to you. Do the right thing, and you won't regret it.